Hi everyone and welcome to Club 4 episode 13 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM22 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So, since you and I were together last, we've been a little bit sketchy in our form. We've lost a couple of games, unfortunately. We still just about hold on to top spot in the division, but only because the New Saints have played 2 less games than us. They're 4 points behind. Today, we play bottom of the table Haverford West. Have to get those 3 points and keep the pressure on the others that are trying to chase us down. Can we do it? Let's find out. Welcome back to Connors Quay Nomads. Welcome back to the Welsh Premier Division. So, as I say, we've had a little bit of a blip in form in the last few matches. There's also another thing that we need to figure out, and that's defensively, we're not looking that strong at the moment. In terms of, you can see in our team stats on this homepage, goals scored 24, which is the best in the league. Goals conceded, we've conceded 11 in the league, and that's the 5th worst. But on top of that, including all of our European stuff that we went through at the beginning of the season, we've let in 23 goals this season so far in all competitions. And I think I've identified our goalkeeper and our left fullback position as potentially the issues. So in the next transfer window, I've really kind of got to find a way to solve those 2 problems, I think. They're just a little bit below everybody else in terms of the standards that they keep. But that's for another day. But it's just something that I've been thinking about over the last little while whilst playing this game, that's where maybe we're still lacking a little bit. Will it stop us from winning the championship here in Wales? It might do, to be honest. I mean, if we go to look at the league table in a little more detail, the New Saints sitting in 4th, but 2 games behind us in the schedule, and they're 4 points behind us. If they win both of those, it puts them back at the top of the table where they've usually been, and it causes us a problem. The other interesting setup, though, is that Bangor City, they're down in 5th. They're due to finish in 2nd. We're not due to finish any higher than about 5th ourselves, so we're batting above ourselves at the moment. Cardiff Met and Aberystwyth are the teams directly behind us. They are supposed to be in the sort of top 3 or 4 teams in the division, so that's not too much of a surprise. So there's still a long way to go. Remember, we play all of these teams home and away, and then the league splits off, and the top 6 continue to play each other home and away again to determine who's going to actually win the championship. So there's a long way to go in this season, but so far it's going very well. But I am concerned about that defensive setup a little bit, and I am concerned about the New Saints. So if we just quickly go into the schedule, you'll see that it was the New Saints that beat us. They beat us 3-2 away from home. That wasn't bad. We really tried, and we were in the game for quite a lot of the game, but ultimately they found a way to win it. And then we had a bit of a hangover, it feels like, against Cardiff Met Uni, and they beat us 2-1. But again, they are supposed to finish 3rd in the division, so they're not a bad side by any stretch, but just felt like we weren't quite at the races on that particular occasion. We then came back to our old selves, came back to our old club, Colwyn Bay, and beat them very comfortably 4-1. And then rotated the entire 11 against Airbus UK in the Nathaniel MG Cup 3rd round, and we just about squeezed through on a penalty shootout, having got to 0-0 after 90 minutes. So you can see it's been okay. We lost against the New Saints, which I kind of understood. We lost against Cardiff Met, which wasn't the best in result that we could get, really. And then we've picked it up again a little bit. For now, we go on a bit of a run of about 4 or 5 games again before Bangor and the New Saints come back round again. And so we'll have that run of 4 games. Remember, Bangor City, the New Saints, Cardiff Met, the top 3 potentially predicted for this season, followed by our own former club in Colwyn Bay. There's a Cup 3rd round possibly in there as well. So there's some big games still to come. But for today, I feel like we should be able to just breathe a little bit. We've got Haverford West, who sit bottom of the table. Surely we can cope with that. Let's see. So we do have one or two personnel issues in terms of injuries. The big one is Lewis Lloyd, who actually this season is doing pretty well. He's actually leading our goal scoring chance in the league over Johnson, which is quite impressive, really. And he's going to be out for the next 3 weeks, unfortunately. He's got a twisted ankle that he's suffered. And so, unfortunately, he's out of the firing line just for a couple of games. We've also got Roberts and Evans, two of our defenders out, a left back and a central defender. So ultimately, Evans wouldn't have got on the bench either anyway. But Roberts is our number one choice left back. You can see he's got a 6.9 average rating, which isn't terrible, but it is a little bit less than those that are around him. We've also got this guy, John Hughes, sitting on our sub bench, who's a left fullback, but he's only got a 6.6 rating for the games that he's played, and he is a very, very weak link in our squad. He's the one I would be getting rid of. So for today's match and the last game or two, to be honest, since we picked up that injury for our left fullback, I have actually been playing our right fullback rotating option, Edwards, in the left fullback role. You can see that he's reasonable for this level. There's a couple of good attributes in each of his three categories, but he does cover both right and left. It doesn't say so necessarily on that page specifically, but if you delve into him, he does actually have the ability to play on the left a little bit. So I've been playing him there. He's got a 6.99 average rating for the last game or two, which is pretty good, considering that the option was a 6.6 over his game. So you can see that I'm trying to fill that gap, but we've always got a little bit of an issue there. So that is something that we need to figure out. So other than Lloyd being out and the left fullback being out, most other players have been rotated in and out a little bit, got some game time recently, and are reasonably fit and healthy, which is good. The exception is slightly... Let's click on him. Cameron Berry, our central midfielder. He's been out for quite a while with an injury. So he's on his way back in and he's doing okay, but his actual match fitness is a little bit low. So at halftime, maybe into the sort of 60, 65 minute sort of range, maybe we'll have to take him out. But we'll have to see about that one. For now, though, for today's game against Haverford West, we go in with Park in goal, Barrett at right back, Edwards at left back, Beaumont and Boddenham in central defence, Berry and Pinchard in central midfield, Rees on the right, Motruck on the left, and Rees and Johnson up top, with a bench of Amos, Hughes, Cullimore, Evans, Mitchell, Barris, and Michael. So I couldn't figure out who that was for a second. The lesser spotted Michael. This is one of our young up-and-coming strikers who finds himself on the bench today just to fill the numbers out a little bit. Anyway, let's get into today's game and see what happens. So considering we're playing the bottom side in the division, I've gone very, very chilled out on the team talk, hands in the pockets as a gesture, and just said, go out there, relax, play your natural game, the result will come. And I believe that. I think we should be coping with this team pretty well, to be honest. If we're going to go and push forward to try and challenge for the title at some point, these are the games you just stroll in, score your goals and stroll out again having got 3 points. We'll see whether that works out. Obviously, we're away from home, so that always puts a little bit more pressure on. But we'll see what happens in this particular game. Rees has done very well since coming into that central striking position over Lloyd. So he's a good option to have. Hopefully he'll get on the score sheet and improve his morale a little bit and his momentum behind his play. We're working the ball very nicely. We had one opportunity to get the ball in. Here is Rees, and he goes down in the box, and I think he's won us a penalty after 6 minutes. So we attacked twice in that particular period of play. First time was blocked, second time went down for a penalty kick, and Johnson it is that steps up. He gets his 16th goal of the season so far, which is fantastic from him. But remember, Lloyd is actually our top goal scorer in the league this season. So we've been potent up front, supported by Rees, who's coming along very nicely. It is that defensive area that we've got to figure out, unfortunately. Here's a chance. Edwards, the right back playing at left back, as it were, does very well there. Then we put the ball forward too quickly, potentially, and don't quite manage to win it. This time we do get it through, quite luckily so, a little bit. But Johnson gets through and hits the post with a really good struck shot low along the floor underneath the goalkeeper. I think we were a little bit unlucky on that one. And all of the chances so far, after 18 minutes, have come from us. They've had no shots at goal at all so far, the opposition. So can we keep the pressure up and make them pay for it? Johnson hits the other post now. Is he going for the perfect hat-trick of post and crossbar, maybe, as the third one? We shall see. Left, right, maybe he'll go for the crossbar next. Who knows? Is Haverfordwest with the highlight down the right-hand side. They're finally getting a chance. But Edwards, the guy in our left fullback position, does actually do a really good job against them. Maybe we play him there long-term, whatever. Pinchard on the ball, doing pretty well to get it clear, but doesn't find the man. We win the ball back again from Pinchard in midfield, though. We're going long a little bit, which is kind of our style of play anyway, a little bit more straightforward and in your face, but we're going potentially a little bit too aimless at times. We're not putting it into feet. We're trying to win aerial battles. Maybe we need to go into feet a little bit more to see if we can get on the ball a little better than we are. We're winning it back very comfortably. Our right fullback Barrett sorts that one out. I think Rees was offside. Unfortunately, he just made his move too early for that one. Got the header on, which is really good, and did a great job of putting it in the back of the net, but he had just strayed offside. Excuse me as I clear my throat. But yeah, ultimately, we're in a lot of control of the game. But at 1-0, you just wonder whether there's a sting in the tail somewhere if we're not a little bit more clinical. And it's that sort of moment. We get it part way up, and our final ball releasing the player in front of goal, other than the couple that Johnson had and then hit the post, hasn't quite been good enough. And again there, Motruck gets into the box, really wasn't particularly tightly marked, and then decided just to blast it over the top of the bar rather than putting a shot on target. And Haverfordwest, just at the dying moment there in that highlight, should have potentially had a goal. They got it through, they stuck a foot out and poked it towards the goal. The goalkeeper seemed beaten, and it drifted just narrowly past the post. We've got to be a little bit more focused than we are. Corner for Haverfordwest, and the header comes in, but Park, the goalkeeper, sorts it out for us and claims the ball. But again, that could have been a golden opportunity. We've got to take our chances, and now we do. 46 minutes on the clock, just into injury time of the first half. Long clearance by the goalkeeper. Johnson manages to turn the defender, the last defender, gets a clear run through on goal, gets through to the goalkeeper, and as he encroaches, Johnson just dinks it over the top of him, and that's a very lovely finish. And he's finally figured out how to put the ball in the back of the net, having hit the woodwork twice before in his game. Obviously, he struck the penalty in the first few minutes of the game also. But look at those statistics for the first half. Now, what I would say is that Haverfordwest came back into the game a little bit, because for half of that first half, they hadn't had a shot on goal at all. Now they've had 7 and 1 on target. We've had 15 and 7 on target. 51% possession though, so we're not dominating the gameplay as much, but a 1.7 XG compared to their 0.3 expected goals rating. We're doing pretty well. Now that we've got that second goal, we can play with a little bit more freedom, it feels like. So let's go with hands on hips. I'm pleased we've created loads and the scoreboard reflects that. Why not? Let's just keep the positivity there. Tell them what they've been doing pretty well. I'd like them to put a few more on target and cause the goalkeeper a few more issues, and we do. 2 minutes into the second half, we get an own goal, a bit of chaos in the 6-yard box from a corner kick from Pinchard that goes in. There's a whole host of players at the near post. It actually misses them, and it randomly hits a dude in the middle of the 6-yard box, and it ricochets into his own net, unfortunately for him. But that puts us 3-0 up. and that should be game over, although Haverfordwest have their own corner kick on 52 minutes, and it was just a random block. I think the goalkeeper might have struggled had it not been hit the defender, and we managed to get it clear. So there's still chances in there. There's still too many chances in there for Haverfordwest for my liking. And defensively, again, we are not looking as strong as I'd like us to be. Maybe it's time at some point, if we go on a bit of a run at some point that means we don't win this championship this season, maybe it's time to figure out a slightly different formation. Maybe we go away from the two up top. Maybe we stick a holding midfield player in there or something to support the defence a little bit. Just things to think about, really, or have it as an alternative at the very least. It looks like Rees has picked up a knock up front, so we'll let this highlight play out and then we'll go and look at replacing him potentially. And this time we got through again on goal, but put the ball harmlessly at the goalkeeper's feet, and he managed to pounce on that one, unfortunately. He then boots it down the pitch and gives it straight back to our goalkeeper, which is very nice of him. And we have a go at setting us going. Rees, injured slightly, gets through to the byline and sets up the hat-trick for Johnson. And he puts it in the back of the net. We talked about the hat-trick of hitting the woodwork before. He's done the opposite. And now he's got a hat-trick of goals, which is fantastic. Good setup by Rees. We'll see what his injury is, but I will be taking him off. I don't need to take any chances at this point. We are now 4-0 up. And a little simple tap-in from Johnson. Let's go and sort out Rees in the striking position. So what does it say his injury is? Potential thigh injury. He's injured and struggling to run it off. So we will take him out. And we will put our young striker in, 16-year-old Lewis Michael. We'll see how he copes with this occasion. Maybe a star is born. Who knows? We'll have to find out and wait and see on that one. 62 minutes. We're going to continue on with the game a little bit longer before we make the other two substitutions that we've got to make in this second half. But let's see if we can get a goal for the youngster. That would be phenomenal, wouldn't it, really? Making his sort of bow for us, his debut. That was the word I was trying to find. Sometimes my mind just goes blank and I can't figure out the word I'm trying to find. I'm sure we all have it. Anyway, here we go. Through on goal through to the left-hand side to the byline, drops it back to Pinchard. Cross comes in, header gets cleared a little bit, but Barrett picks up the loose ball for us in the right fullback position and drives forward enough to get the cross back in again. They clear it again. And now they've got a little bit of a counter-attack opportunity. And they've done really well. All the way out to the left-hand side, down to the byline, he managed to make it, put a deep cross in, but the header goes harmlessly over the top of the bar. At 73 minutes on the clock, we now will make our substitutions, the two that we've got left to make. And again, you see, this is the issue that we've got, is that my left fullback, whoever it is, and I think Edwards has played quite well, is always below everybody else in the ratings. But there we go. It's just one of those things. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Mo Truck out. He's having a poor game on the left side of midfield. Bowris comes in for him. I could take the left full-back out today, Jacob Edwards, but I think I'll leave him in. He's looking reasonable in terms of his conditioning, and we are 4-0 up. So I think what I'll do is I'll take out one of the more slightly jaded players. And the obvious one is Berry. Coming back from his injury, we have to protect him a little bit. So we're going to put Will Evans in for him in that central midfield role and just give him a little bit of a rest, having played 70-something minutes of the game, which is pretty good considering, as I say, he's come back from a bit of a long-term injury. So gently with him. We're back in the game. We've got 12 minutes to play, 4-0 up. We can do exactly what we said at the beginning of this match, to be honest. We can breathe a little bit. There's no worries here now. Even if Haverfordwest get a goal, I'm not worried at all at this point. But they are on the ball at the top of our penalty box. Hopefully we can just keep them at bay a little bit. We do a good enough job of blocking them. Edwards, the left fullback there, does do well. I'm not quite sure why he's got such a low rating, really, because ultimately I think he's played pretty well when we've been watching the highlights, at least. Anyway, they're still coming at us. They put the cross in, and off the woodwork, they do get a goal, a headed goal. 79 minutes on the clock. We're now 4-1 up. Again, it's a little bit disappointing that we can't keep that clean sheet, but that's us defensively this season. We go up, we score a bunch of goals, and then they just kind of creep back into games again, the opposition. So it's not something that's totally unusual to this setup just at the moment. We'll see whether we can see it out without any more problems. 83 minutes on the clock, we get a highlight for a goal kick for us. And he goes over the top long for Johnson again, who turns on his opponent again brilliantly well. That's Johnson at his very, very best at this level. He holds the defender off, manages to turn in behind him over the underneath the long ball. The defender jumps, misses it completely. Johnson's then free on goal, and he puts it in the back of the net. And he scores an absolute great 4 goals for us today, which is magnificent. I think Lewis Lloyd, sitting on the bench, or not even on the bench at home because of his injury, must be so frustrated that he's going to be down the pecking order in terms of our goal scorers for this season all of a sudden, just from one game having been missed potentially. Again, Haverfordwest come back at us though. 5-1 down, they're still having a go. We've got defensive shape there, but can we get the block in on this cross? Reese heads it clear for us and does great. Johnson holds the ball up nicely back to Reese down the right-hand side, and then he loses out, but Pinchard wins it back in midfield. Again, we lose out in midfield, and back they come at us through the centre point of the team. And they've got a second goal, but it was quite a speculative shot from way outside the penalty box. The goalkeeper, remember, he was the other one that we were talking about potentially needing to improve. It just kind of goes over the top of the goalkeeper and grazes the underside of the bar and goes into the back of the net. And I think we were a little bit unlucky there. I think it was a very, very well-placed shot. But ultimately, it's 5-2. I'm not too worried at this point, even though there's another highlight in the 89th minute for Haverfordwest. And they've got a third one back. What is going on? I still don't think we're going to lose this game or anything. I think it's one. We've got a 2-goal advantage at this point. But why on earth is it that all the way through this season we score so many and then concede quite late on? Feels like all the energy goes out the team once we've got a few goals advantage and they go, well, there you go, job's done. And they completely forget to play out the rest of the game, unfortunately. But here we go again, having another go. Let's see if we can get another goal. I don't mind if we outscore our opponents in every game. That's fine. But occasionally it comes back to bite us when defensively we're just not strong enough to keep them out when we haven't scored the goals that we normally do. Haverfordwest get another counter-attack, and they've worked it through the lines. This time, the goalkeeper does enough to parry the ball out for a corner kick, but the corner kick will now come in. 94 minutes on the clock. We've got seconds, in theory, left to play. They're still going at us. And then the final whistle goes. Now, that was madness. I mean, we did brilliantly well in the offensive third of the pitch. You can see that by Johnson getting 4 goals and getting a perfect 10 average rating for the game. Now, the goalkeeper apparently got an 8, and he was he was in goal when they scored 3. So what that meant about the rest of the people around him, I mean, you can see that we've got some poor ratings down the left-hand side specifically, both offensively and defensively. It's something that we need to sort out. I am very, very tempted at this point with 3 decent strikers in our ranks in terms of Johnson, Lloyd and Rees. I feel like if we were to move to 1 up top and support them slightly better from a defensive, more secure foundation, I think that might work for us in rotating those 3 in and out a little bit. So something to think about. Anyway, but for today, we do get a very, very positive 3 points. I just wish we could keep a clean sheet. So Rees is out for the next few days. Not too bad, but his knock will mean that he'll probably miss the next game against Caernarfon. Aberystwyth and Cardiff Met Uni haven't played their games yet this game week, neither has the New Saints. So it's difficult to know what they're going to be doing behind us. But we do have a little bit of a gap. We've put the points on the board. It's now chance for them to try and catch us up, really. But the good thing is the goal difference. We've scored so many goals in comparison to everybody else that we are doing very, very well on that front. But I would say again, it's just about the goals conceded. If we go into the schedule and figure out what we're up to next episode, before we do, you'll see right up the top of this page here, we've got our 4 European ties that we played, and we let a goal in the first game, 4 goals in the second game, 2 goals in the next one, and 3 goals in the next one. That's a lot of goals to concede, and it's no wonder we went out really quite narrowly, because we scored a bunch as well. But then it kind of moved into the league as well. We got a couple of early good 3-0, 2-0 wins to start the season, and then 1 goal conceded, 3 goals conceded, 1 goal conceded, then another good clean sheet, but then 3 goals conceded, 2 goals conceded, 1 goal conceded. Today we get let in 3 as well. We've got to stop letting in goals. And I am very tempted to change the setup to try and do that, to be honest, because I feel like the attacking prowess that we've got is good enough to potentially win. Of course, the balance of if you take out some of your attacking prowess to make it more defensively solid, do you now not score as many goals, etc.? It's a tricky balance to get, but it's quite frustrating that we can't keep a clean sheet. Anyway, we're going to come back next episode and play Aberystwyth at the end of October. They're currently sitting second place in the league, so it makes sense for us to come back for that particular game. In between time, Caernarfon, Carmarthen and Bala and Gresford are the opponents. 3 of those in the league, 1 of those in the Nathaniel MG Cup quarter-final. Now, the other thing to say, if we go and have a look at the draw for the quarter-final of that particular competition, no Bangor City, no the New Saints, we could potentially win some silverware here. Aberystwyth in there, but Cardiff Met Uni aren't either. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think we have to go all out and see if we can win this particular bit of silverware this season if we can. So that's something to look out for as the season progresses. But as I say, for next episode, Aberystwyth in the league. Between now and then, we'll see if we can go on a bit of a run and get some more points on the board, put the pressure on the chasing pack. And that's going to do it for me today. So thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. Hope you're doing well out there. Hope your FM22 saves are going great. Let me know about them in the comments if you would like to. But until next time, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by more people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.